there has been, really throughout time, this animosity, this enmity, this problem between those that are in the nation and those that are outside the nation wanting to be in the nation. Okay? It's funny too, because Judah came into covenant, and Judah doesn't want to share. Not all of them. And then Gentiles come in and want to share with everybody. They want to bother you in line at the store and tap on your shoulder and just, So we have this out of balance in both ways, okay? But he's saying here, look, this is the secret. The goyim, the ones outside the camp, are ultimately to be co-heirs, united in the same body. Not just co-heirs, but united in the same body, the body being the body of Mashiach. So this is the secret, that the Gentiles are to be co-heirs, united in the same body, and partakers together in the promise in Messiah through the good news. So the promise in Messiah. Let's expand that. Okay, on the Pshat, on the simple, it's talking about literally Messiah. The promise in the being known as Messiah. But what else do we know about Messiah? Well, the promise that's in the Torah. We know he's the Torah. Promise that's in truth. We know he's the truth. The promise that's in the light. We know he's the light. The promise that's in the way. We know he's the way. The promise that's in life, like the promise. These are all things that so we have that we are to be partakers together in the promise, the truth, the way, the life, light, Torah, etc., the word. It says unsearchable riches. Is it really an unsearchable rich? Whatever that means, one of the unsearchable riches, that just to tell him that Messiah came, died, and was resurrected? So somebody might hear that and go, okay, so what does that do for me? What does that do? Good. Good for him. What does it even mean? What are the unsearchable riches? Of him as life, as light, as Torah, as the way, as the truth. The unsearchable riches of that. There's so much, and we search, and we get little pieces, and we get little pieces of it. Does that make more sense? We do something with this secret, not just sharing information about it. Again, if the secret was just Messiah came and is risen and is sitting at the right hand, what's there to administer with that? There's nothing to administer. He's saying to make all see how this secret is handled, administered. What do you do with it? Finding out Messiah lives and is resurrected at the right hand, okay, I'm excited about that. What do I do with that? Seriously, what are you supposed to do with that? Well, you need to know what it does for you. I understand all that. What do I do with that, though? How is that administered? Well, he makes it so that if you just believe in him, that's what you have to do. Just believe in him and then everything's good. He says, look, if it was that simple, why would he have to make it known so all can see how the secret is administered? Obviously, it's a little bit more complex than just believing in him. So he says, through the assembly. What's the assembly? The one new man coming from the two are in what's called the assembly. The assembling together of the two groups now become one. Through that, the many-sided wisdom of Elohim might be known. Many-sided? Yes, that means that there's things that you understand and would say, that makes sense, and things that you may understand and think that makes sense, but they're not the same thing. But Elohim has his incredible wide range of things that he's put together that to one group or the other may not make sense. But yet, when it comes together, it all makes sense. So we'll call that the many-sided wisdom. In other words, different aspects to the wisdom. Not that it's contradictory, not that it's different, it's just looking at it from a different angle, you see something different. Now, he didn't say letting people know how it is followed by everybody being administered to. He's talking about, I'm demonstrating how to administer this from a leadership point of view. Of course, you guys aren't cooperating fully, so the you guys he's talking to is why he's trying to get them to stop the nonsense. You have to believe, if you're reading up to now, which is about almost halfway through this letter to the Ephesians, that there's still a serious problem between the Jew and the Gentile in that congregation. I mean, this is the theme in other words, the point of his letter. I want you guys to knock it off. Come together. Understand what he is doing here in the Ephesian congregation. Okay? That's the same thing here in this congregation. What is he doing here? I am doing these things by bowing my knees to the Father of the Master Yeshua, from whom all fatherhood, which is the most authority from a fiduciary, responsibility point of view. Okay? If I'm your boss and you're my employee, I have very limited authority over you and limited responsibility. But if I'm your father, then I have almost all responsibility for what happens to you up to a certain point, right? So he's using this fatherhood thing to explain the role in the leadership is like a father role. You care that much to make sure your children don't hurt themselves and do dumb things and get themselves in all kinds of trouble. That's fatherhood. Keep them safe, provide for them. That's the man role, provide and protect. You need to be strengthened in your inner man because you're going to be dealing with stuff that if your inner man's not strengthened, you will not make it. Because you will not handle what you're facing. So when the person comes at you and tackles you and smacks you against the ground or whatever's happening in an emotional way, not literally, if your inner man's not strengthened, you won't be able to say, forgive them, Father, they don't know what they're doing. You won't be able to love your enemy who's, not that they're really your enemy, but they're acting like an enemy. You won't be able to do some of the things that are necessary because the inner man's too weak. And all those people out there that want to get all I like to do all this motivational stuff. Paul just said that he wants to strengthen your inner man. Okay? Oh, but no, Rabbi, he wants the Spirit to do it for us. That's not what it says. Do you understand what inner man means? It means that it's inside of something, right? So what is it inside of? Flesh suit. What do you think is going to go in the eternal suit? The flesh or the inner man? The inner man. So if that inner man doesn't grow up, it's going to be a disaster in a forever suit. Do you understand? So you got to get that inner man worked on, which I think has been missing so much for so many years being taught from a podium. Because that's the growing that needs to happen in order to successfully transition from what you are into what he is. We're supposed to conform and transform what? The flesh? We're going to make our bodies look like him? No, we're going to make our inner man look like him, align with him. And what's the essence of him? He's set apart, which means our inner man has to be set apart. Has to be kadosh. If you lay this up in your hearts, if I'm teaching you what this looks like, he says, I'm showing you the secret, how this is administered, how it's walked out. He says, if you love me, guard my commands. So this is that you know the love of Messiah, which surpasses just informational knowledge. Here he's talking about information. The love of Messiah surpasses information. You can't get there just through information about him. Everybody has access to a book called the Scriptures, the Bible, whatever, They're free in hotels, free online everywhere. Everybody I run into has had one in their life at some point. The information is here. Does that get you where you need to go? No. It's experiential. It's relationship. And he's saying the relationship is if you love me, you're going to guard my commands. You're going to lay the commands up in your heart. You're going to embrace me as the light, the truth, the way, etc.